How's it going?
Hi, Ann. How are you?
I am doing well. What's going on?
Just a busy day here at school.
Amazing. How is everything going as you are starting the year?
It's going well, but boy, it sure is a lot.
It's really fair. Well, I'd love to pop into your hub, and as we talked about during, um, well, actually, yeah, as we talked about during fall training, the hub is where you're going to be spending. We both are really going to be spending the majority of our time this year because it's where all of your project plans are going to live. So, since this is one of our first meetings, I'd love to kind of just orient you to specifically our coaching notes so that you'll know what to expect as we move forward. So, always when we meet, we'll do a little bit of coffee talk. It's super important to me to build relationships with everybody that I coach. So we'll always do a personal check in first. And then we'll have two big subsections, which is team culture and then strategic planning. For team culture, we'll talk about your team culture, literally, and how they are and how you are, and anything we need to do to make sure that it stays strong. And then for strategic planning, we'll talk about where you are in the project cycle with the project that you're currently on, and then any next steps with that before we close out with action steps and then anything else on your mind. If you see in column B where it says owner, that says who's going to type in each part. So if you feel like I'm typing during this, it's probably because I am, but don't worry, I'm paying attention. It's just super important in terms of really strong project management practice to keep good documentation of each project as you move through it. So the only part that you're really mostly going to be typing in is row 9, TL next steps, and it's just important that you know what your next steps are versus having me type it and then you looking back at it and being like, what did that mean? So we just talked a little bit in terms of coffee talk. So I'd love to now move to team culture. How are you and your team feeling? You can answer that on a scale of 1 to 10 or just in general, what's going on?
I think we're at about a 7. It's always a little bit tricky to get things going at first, but
Mm-hmm.
we're all coming together and really blending well.
Nice. Anything that you're thinking about in terms of continuing to keep that strong culture or anything that you're seeing ahead that could be something that would decrease that strong culture that you're building in your team?
Yeah, 3 of us all get together at the end of the day and have a debrief once a week just to check in,
Mm,
see where everything is, and make sure we're all on the same page. And just if anyone needs to vent a little.
nice. I love that. I think that's super important just because a lot of times when I'm talking with my own teams that I've led in the past about culture, like we sometimes get stuck in the venting part. So I like that you just kind of are separating it so that there is a time and space for it, but just maybe not during meetings. Awesome. I'd love to now talk about strategic planning. So let's click into your project plan. You'll see that link right there, and that's just the tab right before this. So I know that you're in project one, and I see the timeline that we have. So it's meant to end on December 1st. Talk to me about what stage of the project cycle you're on right now.
Right now, we are in execution and things are moving along well, but there are a couple blockers in our way.
Okay, so let's one step at a time. Let's pop in execution then for the project stage. And again, we'll update that every time we meet so we can make sure that we're moving forward. But talk to me about what are the things that are maybe standing in the way of completing this project.
We got a new director of curriculum and instruction this year, and that person wants to take things in a slightly different direction than what we had originally thought.
Mm,
So we're
hmm.
having to redo some of our ideas around vocabulary.
Got it. Well, let's spend some time now in the meeting actually planning for that because one of the most helpful things about coaching meetings is that it's really not meant to be us, reporting or you just reporting like what are the updates to me. It's meant to be for work time. So I'd love to dig into that and actually help you edit some of your project plans so that you can come back to your team with a really solid plan to go over with them. So uh, I'm going to step out of the role play for a second and let you know watching. We're going to now fast forward. So we would have spent some time, obviously, editing the plan. And now moving back into the role play. All right, so Keenan, talk to me about your next steps. What are some things that you're going to have done before we meet next?
Well, I just really appreciated that walkthrough we just did together. Now I'm feeling better. And for my next steps, I'm going to speak with that new DCI,
Mm-hmm.
about some of the changes we talked about, make sure that the team is on board, and get one more idea in there for how we can make things more engaging.
Excellent. So make sure, actually, why don't you take a minute to type that in now, just so that we don't forget, and that the next time we meet, when we reference this, we'll know. Anything else that's on your mind or that I can help you think through?
No, this was really helpful. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Amazing. Well, Keenan, I'm so excited for our year together. And as always, reach out, if anything comes up.
Thanks so much, Ann.
All right. Have a really good rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Bye. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Keenan.
Okay.